Good morning and welcome to Motivation Monday. This is Trainer David coming to you from my secret location somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. Like everybody else, I'm just working from home. And we'll start off with our some tips of the week. Well, I've got sales shout outs on here, but like a lot of other people, I think our statistician is also working from home. And I don't believe we got the stats out yet. So we'll probably just kind of skip over that part, unfortunately. And then we'll look at today's topic, which is some voicemail tips. Try to see if we can't get some better results from voicemail. All right, so getting on to the tip of the week, what we're looking at, I got a couple of different things for you. We're looking at all these different things surrounding COVID-19. And you're just going to have to check the specific company that your customer has to see which of these that actually pertain to them. But we've seen the waiving of cost sharing on all the COVID-19. So we've got that going. And then let's see, I think I got a little problem with my VPN here. I don't know if that affects this, whether getting connected or not. Let's try here. And it should be connecting back up if that did make a difference. Okay, so anyway, like I was saying, some cost sharing has all been waived. Okay. Also waiving of doctors' treatments, emergency rooms, and services via telehealth. Prior authorization requirements, that specifically addresses prescriptions, waiving prescription refill limits, relaxing restrictions on home delivery, mail delivery of prescription drugs, and expanding access to telehealth services. Those were all came out from the president, and that's what they've asked everybody to do. Okay. So we've got those going. The one other thing I want to let you know is that we are moving, and that's what's really moving is not that it'll still be on Monday, but Motivation Monday's time slot. It's going to be changing from 10 Pacific Standard or Daylight, depending on what time of year it is, to 8. So from 10 to 8. So it'll be 8 o'clock on the West Coast, but that's going to free things up to be like just before lunch on the East Coast. So we're just trying to accommodate a better nationwide audience, and that is going to be going into effect on May 4th. So for the rest of this month, we'll still be at 10, 10 Pacific anyway, and then we'll look for that change. So like I said, still be on Monday, but the times, they are a-changing. Now, sales stats, like I said, didn't get those in time. In fact, I don't even see that the email that normally brings that to us has not come in yet. So as we look at the ways to make money and who's the money magnets, we don't really have any information there for you. So with that, let's just jump right on into the topic today, and that's trying to leave an effective voicemail. Okay, as we look at the numbers, okay, on average, one can expect about a 4% return on your voicemail. So if we can double or triple that, get it up to, let's just use a nice round number, say 10%. Just think of how many more opportunities that brings to you for a sale. Typically, you look at, you leave probably over 100 voicemails a day. And if you were only getting about a 4%, if we can bump that up to 8 or 10%. I don't know what your close rate is, but let's just assume it's a close rate of 25%. I'm trying to make up some numbers here. So that would mean that you now have the opportunity to do maybe another 4 or 5 applications. Okay, so just think about how that would help out in your commissions there. And by leaving a good voicemail is hard, and you often, you just won't even hear back. So many people are always thinking, just why bother? Well, I can tell you that today's society, too many people just screen their calls, and if they don't recognize the number, they don't answer. So I'm just surprised at even the number of agents that I have called. And remember, when I'm calling an agent, they've asked for some help. And I've wound up having to leave a voicemail for them to call me back. Okay, so I'm just trying to answer their questions, and I can't even get a call back from them. Okay. But if a prospect returns your call, I mean, especially the way we're going to talk about leaving that voicemail. So if a prospect returns your call, they're interested in something you said. So you're going to, go into that sales cycle with a leg up, right? In other words, they're already interested in something that you've told them in the voicemail, and we'll talk about that. And so that kind of gives you, like I said, a leg up on the sales cycle. And if you're giving the prospect also, this is just another one of the features, you're giving them another way to get in touch. I mean, they can call, they can email, they can reach out on social media. I mean, it all adds up. But the point is, brushing up on your voicemail skills can boost your commission check. So we're going to get into some tips for leaving a sales voicemail that will get you a call back. Now, this is the information that we need to cover in the voicemail. Now, keeping in mind that all we have is 20 to 30 seconds. So you've got what they need, but you need them to call you back to give it to them. So you have to convey the answer to what I would call the WIFM, what's in it for me. And the rest is kind of filler to the voicemail, but you've just got to leave it. You got to tell them who you are. You got to tell them why you're calling. You got to tell them how to get in touch. But most important is what's in it for them. Because that's what, as the little picture though, it's all about me. And so you want to make sure that you answer that question for them. So some other rules that go with these in order to be effective, you got to be, like I said, 30 seconds or less. And most people will delete after 7 seconds if they haven't got something in there that has caught their attention. So leave a voicemail by using your normal tone of voice and keeping the message short, like I said, between 20 and 30 seconds. Start the voicemail with information that is relevant to the contact, and maybe even ask a question that's tailored specifically for them. A perfect sales voicemail would be in the like I keep pounding away here. It would be in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 seconds, not much longer, not much shorter. Now, I realize that's a very specific window, so let me kind of explain where that came from. Obviously, prospects aren't going to listen to an overtly long email from a caller whose number they don't recognize. So pushing past 30 seconds ensures that the message will get deleted almost immediately. On the other hand, they're unlikely to listen to an overtly short message. I mean, my experience on my voicemail is when I look on there and it's only 6 or 7 seconds and I have played it, it's static. That's how long it, either they stayed on the line or they didn't hang up immediately. They didn't say anything, but 6 or 7 seconds, I don't even bother to even play that, because my experience, and this will be with most other people out there, that is just dead air. There's nothing there. And so you don't want that overtly short email, because that is also going to be one that just gets deleted. Now, most cell phones show the number and the voicemail duration, when the call is missed. So if the recipient sees the message is from an unknown number and only a few seconds long, they'll assume it's, not even important and delete it. So since the message doesn't appear to be substantive, they won't even be prompted to listen. So what do we want to be in our voicemail? Okay. So it's just these are just the tips here. It says, by not starting off with your first name, or by making people laugh with some business appropriate humor, or screwing up a voicemail and joking about it, being enthusiastic and positive, referencing some research you've done on their needs that prompted the call. Whatever it is, you just want to try to do something different and stand out. So too many reps are going to try to almost sound like inside sales reps, being a chatty grandma there, pitching solutions, discussing features, offering value propositions in the voicemail. Excuse me. Long voicemails are just not going to get you a response. The voicemail needs to merely, pique the prospect's interest, but you want to save that real pitch for the actual sale. So among these tips are going to be like using the prospect's first name establishes some sense of familiarity, and using the last name, however, does just the opposite. So be sure to say the first name of the person that you're calling at least twice. Now I say twice, but that's so long as it doesn't sound forced. People pay attention when their name's mentioned. I mean, after all, we've all been conditioned throughout our lifetime to pay attention to when our name is spoken. If you want to get someone's attention, use their name. Now be careful with this, because there are some cultures out there that don't use their first names with strangers. I'll give you an example. Somebody from India, they're much more formal and would use, Mr., Mrs., Ms. When addressing somebody that they didn't know. But use that with some, caution in there. And by that, I mean, if it's somebody that's, an older person, I mean, you've got their age, hopefully. And I would say Mr. Patel. But if I see that they're only 20-something, I'd be using Samir, okay? I mean, a first name, because they probably grew up here and are more American culturized than they are in the Indian culture. Now, speaking of those names, on occasion, you may have that hard to pronounce name to contend with. Make sure you figure out the normal pronunciation before the call. I mean, there are websites such as pronouncenames.com that can help you to learn to correct, the correct pronunciation of that name. The second someone screws up your name, you instantly see them as a stranger, and the only thing worse than a call from a stranger is a call from a stranger trying to sell you something. Just like instant deletion there. So try some of these other tips. Split your voicemail. And by that, I'll give you an example here, but you're going to leave 2 voicemails. In other words, rather than leaving one 30-second message, we'll do a 20 immediately followed by a 10. I'll give you kind of an example here. It would be something along these lines. You'd go like this, the first voicemail. Hi, John. Yeah, you inquired about affordable health insurance coverage. Looking at the rates for 2020, I know they seem high. I work with dozens of different companies to help my customers find the most thorough and affordable health and dental insurance possible. Click, okay, the end of the first one. And then immediately call back and John, hey, I forgot to leave you my name and number. My name is, and give them your name and company. My services are free and I can be reached at 1-800-555-1212. Done. Okay, so that's just one little tick there. If you get somebody's attention, you were unique, you didn't start off with your name, might make you feel a little uncomfortable, but it does, leave something to the imagination there, okay? One of the other little tips you can try is you've had maybe a talk with them before, and you know that their interests are, maybe you've got some of their interest. You can always use the old sending them an email with some information. And I would only leave this voicemail, with interested prospects. But if you're talking to someone who really isn't interested in fixing a problem, they're going to, or implementing your product, they probably wouldn't want to read the article you sent them anyway. So, but if you're working with an actively engaged prospect, this voicemail can be perfect for building rapport. I just sent you an article about, a new QLE we were discussing on our last call. I can't wait to hear what you think about it. Now, I wouldn't actually use QLE. That's kind of an insurance term. I might say qualifying life event. But anyway, if you've already got a call scheduled, it'll serve as an incentive for your prospect to show up. And if you don't have a call on the books, you can use their response to the voicemail, to get things going. Some don'ts here, okay? So, you have to kind of be careful with this one, okay? You don't want to tell them what to do. Many times people, just resist being told that kind of stuff. Don't try to sell in the voicemail. Leave that for when you're actually talking to them. And you don't want to reference failed attempts. So let's kind of look at it this way. Always provide content, whether your last encounter or your first, have a relevant reason for calling in order to get their attention. They offer clear value. State up front how you can help. You're saving them time and money. You're helping them get health care. Let them know the benefit. I work with dozens of different companies. Okay? Ask for what you want. Is my purpose strictly to get a phone call back, or what am I trying to do here? But whatever it is, I want to ask for it. And don't sound desperate. Phrases like, please call me back as soon as you get this. Or, I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. Call me at your earliest convenience. Those are all considered, pushy, aggressive, and borderline desperate, okay? Which is the last thing that you want to sound like. Again, avoid telling your prospect what to do. You make returning a call seem like a chore, or worse, a demand. You want this to feel like it's mutually beneficial. Okay? It's like part of this relationship, one in which each party wants to call back, kind of unprompted. So leave, if you're going to leave something along those, call me back when you get this, leave that at the door. And just leave it with talk to you soon. Thanks for your time, or even the good old-fashioned have a great day. My number is. Now, you always want to, at the end of the voicemail, give your phone number. Now, the reasoning, first, it's a clue that this is the wrap-up, and it gives kind of a clear call to action. Okay. In today's age of voicemail transcripts, in other words, where they'll get that you left a voicemail, but they may see it as a written transcript. I know that's the way I get those on my phone. Your number stands out at the end of the message, and it's linked, it's underlined, it's hyperlinked, and all on, if I'm left a message like that, all I have to do is touch the link, and it saved me a lot of time and effort. I didn't have to write down the number. I didn't have to do anything. I just touched it and immediately was able to call them back. So voicemails don't have to be a last resort or a dead end. And if you kind of use these tips for messages that actually, move the conversation forward, you can enjoy a richer prospect relationship and fewer opportunities, just going by the wayside. Now, timing. You want to call it strategic times. Now, we would always look at, is it the first call, or is this a later on call? Trying to call during off-peak hours. I never got something the first time, and I left it in the morning, so I might want to call back the next time in the afternoon. Maybe I catch them at home, or or leave them another message or something, but I want to stagger the time that I left them. There's been a little bit of research done, to discover the best times to reach prospects. But here's kind of a few little tips in there. Is the worst times are on Mondays between 6 and noon. Obviously, that's when a lot of people are, if they're at work or if they're still working or something like that, that's probably not a good time to try to reach them. And along with that is Friday afternoon. And many people on Friday afternoon are just, they're trying to wrap up their day. A few other tips that go along with that is, like I said, avoid calling very early in the morning or very late at night. And it means that you need to be aware of time zones. I could tell you, I used to live in Hawaii at one time, and my phone was constantly going off at 4 or 5 in the morning, waking me up. Usually it was my mother-in-law who never really got a grasp of the time zone change business, but every now and then it would be a sales call, and I am not buying anything from anybody who doesn't know what my time zone is. Okay? Now, the problem with that is many people move and they're using a cell phone, right? And so their area code could easily be something, on the mainland while they're in Hawaii. So just be conscious of the local time zone, in that the 808 time zone is in Hawaii. Now, let me give you some examples here. Now, this is about a 30-second message here, okay? And I just want to, start off by, doesn't have my first name. I don't know if I want to try to make anybody laugh or not. That's usually, I'm a little bit more of a formal person, but those who can pull off the jokes in the voicemail, you know who you are, okay? But you want to be enthusiastic and positive, reaching some research that you've done for them, and you prompted their needs, right? Whatever, just to try to be different, okay? And so here, if you wanted to time me, I'll read this one off. This one really works out to be about 28 to 30 seconds, okay? Hi, John. You inquired about affordable health insurance coverage. Looking at the rates for 2020, I know they seem high. My name is David Schneider, and I'm with Medicare Solutions. What I do is work with dozens of different companies and find my customers the most thorough and affordable health insurance and dental insurance possible. John, my services are free, and I can be reached at 1-800-555-1212. So if you timed me, you'd see that usually, because when I timed it, hits off right there at about 28 to 30 seconds. Now, depending on the lead source, instead of looking at rates, I could throw in, I saw you were online looking at healthcare. Bill Smith, your referral said you were looking for healthcare. So, I mean, those are just, a couple samples there. Here's another one that I use. I think this one goes on that old adage that most of the time they don't pay attention to my last name or who I work for. So I want to give them something memorable. So I like to use, this is David, the healthcare guy. What I do is work with dozens of different companies to find my customers the most thorough and affordable health and dental insurance possible. Okay, so you can see I've used Cindy's name twice. I've tried to pique her interest on coverage, and I kind of recognized that a lot of people blew off my last name and who I worked with. So I always tried to make something, a little joke in there and be memorable by calling myself the healthcare guy. All right. So I hope these samples and these tips are something that you can, put to work for you. And let's see here. Let me check to see if we've got any chat or anybody looking for some information. And let's see here. I don't see that anybody. No, nothing. So without any questions or anything, you can always reach us here at training@ahpsales.com if you do come up with a question later. And this has been saved, or excuse me, will shortly be saved, to the library, and can be referenced at any time in the future. So I want everybody to be sure and stay safe, and we'll see you next Monday. So have a great day.